Hello, welcome back to Wenzel's World. And so I'm sitting out here relaxing again this evening and trying to keep up with everything. You know how it goes. You got a lighter, a tamper, and then this here tin of this tobacco I'm going to show you. Trying to keep up with it all. Well, relight this directly. Of course, you see I'm smoking my corn cob tonight. Good old corn cob pipe. And I'm smoking this stuff right here. Got this from Jess Piping. He sent it to me along with that Black Irish twist. So that's what I'm smoking. And got a good taste to it, and it's different now than other stuff that I got. So if I want something other different, why, this would be something good to go to. This is the second time I think I've used this. So I smoked through one pipe of it, and now I'm working on this other one. Spit that stuff out of my mouth. That was a big thing of it. Backer. Of course, you got a big draft hole in these corn cob pipes, so I ain't got no filter in it. I guess I'm cheap. I don't see no sense in buying filters and throwing them away. That's one good thing about pipe. Once you get one, so anything don't happen to it, some accident, why, you got it for, I guess, life. As long as you take care of them, don't beat them up, drop them around, run over them or something. Tastes real good, Jesse. He said this is his favorite uh, bourbon blend. I think it's what he said. That's what this is, black and bourbon. And it is dark flakes of tobacco. Some of it's black, blackish. Some of it's real dark red. Let's see. I was going to read what was on it. In it. Now, first of all, as this is made in Denmark by McBaron, see, it was canned in April of 2022. It says double fermented black Cavendish combined with North American ready rub barley make up this even and pleasing mixture. So that's what kind of tobacco and so forth it is. Black Cavendish, North American, ready rubbed barley. Open this up. I was one day last month, whenever it was, I don't remember now. And it's been down the bottom of my little tobacco cabinet. You've seen that. Pipe stand, tobacco cabinet, whatever you want to call it. Place where I store some tobacco and put my pipes in there. Rubber bits and such things as that. So I had it in that tin. Opened it up of course, it was never been opened before. And whenever it was last month, I think it was within the week or within a few days, right whenever Jesse seen it. And you know, it even being down the bottom of that cabinet, I mean, it being low to the floor and everything, it done about started to dry out. So it's pretty dry. Of course, I got it in a jar now. To me, it's got a musky taste through it. So it tastes musky like. Of course, you know, I don't have the taste buds or something that some of you folks have got where you're able to liken it to. You know, and I can't think of anything. Some of these blends, I smoke them and I think, that reminds me of something, but what? You like that? Uh, well, I want to chat with you some this evening about eating meals. You like to eat? You know, I heard it said more than once. Best thing to do is eat to live or not live to eat. I'd say that's a good rule of thumb, but nonetheless, you got to eat. And so, of course, you know, now I'm biased, but down south, I feel like here, you know, we got the best cooks. And I've heard other people, northern people and things like that, say that too. So, you know, I ain't misrepresenting anything. So, but like I say, most of my eating's been down south, and I've really enjoyed. And I've eat up north too. You know, Ohio and places like it where I've always been. But the majority of the time, it's been, you know, either my mama's cooking or my wife's cooking. And so we had a good dinner today. We had fried okra. You like fried okra? And cut that okra up and fry it. And I mean, cut it up, battered in cornmeal, and fried in a cast iron skillet, and that olive oil. Mm-mm. You got to stand there and watch it, you know, make sure it gets all fried real good. Ooh wee, good. We had that and chicken and butternut squash. Wife does that where she takes that butternut squash and cuts it up into cubes and puts cinnamon on it and puts pieces of pineapple in with it and bakes it in the oven. So we had that rice, we had that, we had something else. Oh, we had some type of mixture. Oh, I know what it was. It was asparagus. So she cooked that up in the air fryer, the asparagus and the chicken too. So anyway, had a good dinner. So I want to talk to you some about old ways of eating. Old ways of eating. You know, the first time I remember eating at somebody else's house was my grandparents. And Granny, she was just an old timey cook. She just made the staples, beans and whatever meat, you know, and things like that. So she wasn't no dessert cook. The only thing I remember my granny making for dessert, she'd take slices of white bread, put butter on it, and sprinkle sugar over it, and put it in the oven, and that's what she'd call dessert. Only other dessert I remember having would have been that there. Remember seeing one time a coconut cake that they'd bought at the store. You remember them? And we're going way back now. This has been back in the early '60s. 1960s. In the last century. I told somebody it was in the last century. They, they sort of had to think a little bit. Oh yeah, we over in the 2000s now. And Granny, now she'd make up gravy, and she made up the red eye gravy. And Mama, the type of gravy she made up when she made up gravy and for biscuits and things like that for breakfast, she'd make up the milk gravy. I guess y'all know what I'm talking about when I talk about those things. That there red eye gravy, you take some type of pork, is hog jaw or ham or something like that, and what grease is left from it, you pour a little coffee in with it. That's the way she did it. And then they'd sop it up, then with the biscuits. They call it red eye gravy. And I tell you something else, them old people like that used to do, I don't see done anymore. When they get through with a meal, they would take a big old white tablecloth and everything that all your food and everything that you'd been eating out of but whatever leftovers, let's put it that way, that's the way to put it. All the leftovers were just left on the table, and the big old tablecloth just spread over the whole thing, left there till the next meal. I ain't seen anybody do that. Oh, well, it was in the last century. That's what it was. People don't do that more. You say, well, we got refrigerators now. True, and it's better to the old saying, keep hot foods hot and cold food cold and keep it clean. I understand it, but that's where they used to do that. Put that big tablecloth over everything, and it was covered up for the next meal. Then y'all remember that? Anybody remember anything like that? And then, of course, once you get out working everything as a teenager, when I was growing up as a teenager, uh, the farmers they didn't have rolls of hay. They didn't roll up the hay. They had square bales. So somebody had to pick up the bales out of the field, put them on the wagon, and stack them on the wagon, and haul the wagon and load of hay to the barn. And then we got to get the hay off the wagon. And if you're fortunate enough to have one of them elevators, good. If not, then you got to pitch it up in there, and somebody's got to stack it up in the barn loft. And so that's and when you're doing that, sometimes they do that at night where it wasn't so hot, you just don't see as well. And then other times, most of mine was done during the day. Then they'd come by wanting you to help in the biker. You'd want you to help pull biker slips, and so I'd do that as a teenager. And then come to cut the biker, they want you to cut and spear the biker, and then when day or two later, whenever it was, they'd lay it in the field a while. I say lay it. I don't know if you're a fool with biker or not. Oh, but the way they did that, got tampered on a stick I got with a round casing on the end of it. But anyhow, and the way you do that and all, you cut it and spear it, and then that tobacco stick that you speared them stalks of tobacco on, while you took a couple of those sticks and put them together and stayed out in the field for 2 or 3 days, let it dry a little bit, and then you'd come then and pick it up and put it on the wagon, then haul it to the barn, and then you had these what up in what we called it around here and down where I was raised in Tennessee. You had these poles running, and that's what's called tiers, and you hang these here tobacco sticks with these here stalks of tobacco on them up there, and they would be hanging upside down. Well, I said all that to say this: all them people come by and picked you up to work for 'em one of the things it did for you was to feed you a meal. Man, I always look forward to going to and eating with them people. And if you want to see things done a little bit different and things like, I remember the first time I ever had any potatoes, the lady didn't. Mama always creamed her potatoes real creamy. Okay, and I remember eating with some folks one time, and the lady of the house, she didn't cream it like Mama did. I didn't say anything, but I liked them all right. They had, you could feel those soft chunks of potatoes in there, so in the cream potatoes. First time I ever had any uh, cake with that chocolate sauce you pour over it was at that lady's house, and so forth. So you want to get into sampling different foods like that as a young person. I remember I'd be doing that when I was out working for people like that and all. And so, anyway, and I remember one time I worked for some folks in hay or tobacco, whatever it was, and the lady of the house, we went in to eat dinner that day and all, and the lady of the house made up the dinner. And first time I ever seen it done this way, and I've never seen it done this way again. The okra that she fried, she didn't, she didn't, she didn't cut it this way like that in the little cubes. She cut it, she cut it this way, long ways like it in the strips. Battered it and fried it. So that's the first time I ever had it done that way. So anyway, and the old saying, different strokes for different folks, different slices for folks too. I reckon. I remember as a young man, I don't know how old I was, 18, 20, I don't know what it was now. Me and my daddy, we used to paint houses together. You know, I've told y'all about that on here before. And a lot of them people back in them days, now that you painted, now we did residential work, okay? And so a lot of them people, like especially them people that lived out in the country and were retired, they expect you to have dinner with them, which that was right up my alley, and my daddy's too. And that's just the thing that it was back in them days. Now we're talking about the 19, you know, so I'm thinking 1960s and 1970s and things like that, and the 1980s too. But you know, if they were doing it then, they were doing it long before then. So that was the way that it was done. I mean, if you worked for somebody and they eat, it was expected you was going to eat with them. And so, anyway, and me and my dad, we painted these people's house, and they wanted us to eat with them. So we went in there and we sat down. We had the meal with them and everything. And when we got through eating our meal, and the man of the house, uh, he got through with eating everything he had on his plate, he turned his plate up, you know, like this right here, and was licking his plate. And his wife said, Lionel, quit that. Don't be doing that. Well, you know, that's just the way he always did. He didn't change just because we're there. I never seen anybody else ever do that, but anyway, meals. And I want to tell you something else too. I don't remember us, you know, me and my brother eating in bedrooms and my parents eating some other place. Didn't do it that way. No. Wherever the length of the table was, my daddy sat at the same place at the head of the table every meal we had together. When we had breakfast together, and that was most mornings, and so forth and all. Because when we started the school, we didn't eat dinner at the house. But for supper, everybody's home. Same thing. Brother sat in one place, and Mama she sat on one side, and I think I sat at the other end. I was older than my brother, and my brother then sat across from my mother on the side of the table then. and we always had meals together. And Mama, she was a cook and a half. Woo! And you talk about desserts. Oh my soul, she was a good dessert cooker. For Christmas, she always made up them jam cakes. You ever had a jam cake? Oh man, woo! It it'd be so sweet. Your forehead would get to sweat. And at their boiled custard, she made up her own boiled custard for Christmas, and Thanksgiving, and all. Oh me, all them good meals, and then during the week, I mean, we eat like I thought good. I mean, they said we was poor coming up, and we were. But I tell you, I thought we always got full. It seemed like there was always plenty to eat. And Mama, she'd make up them desserts and pecan pies, chocolate pie, coconut cream pie, biscuit pudding, uh, peach cobbler, blackberry cobbler, chocolate cake, coconut cake for Christmas and things like that. All that fudge she'd make up for Christmas. Woo-wee! Man. Mm, mm. So how y'all go about eating? You and your wife, you got young'uns. Y'all sit down together at the table and give thanks to the Lord for your meal and talk about things and enjoy your food and things like that. I tell you what, makes some good memories for the young'uns and grand young'uns too. Okay. When the grand young'uns come over and we sit down to eat, that's the way we do it. That's the way I was taught to do it. That's the way we did it coming up. That's the way we've done it since we've been married with our family, and we still do it that way. So how y'all go about having your meals? You making some good memories around the table with your young'uns or your grand young'uns? So anyway, next time you go to eat a meal, well, I hope you sit down and give thanks to the Lord for it and savor the flavor and relax and enjoy your meal and hope it's refreshing and hope it's very nutritious, beneficial to you. So anyway, and tonight's episode is brought to you by, or the pipe tobacco is brought to you by Jess Piping. So appreciate the tobacco, Jess. And it's got a good flavor. So I know that when I want something different other than my English blends, then I can go to this jar of this particular tobacco right here and have something different. So, all right. Well, until we meet again, y'all have a good one.